Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect partly cloudy skies with a high of about 52. You can catch us on Twitter, Instagram, on the OTB, ESPN Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube on the 104.5 ESPN channel. In hour one of OTB, we will recap the national championship between Washington and Michigan, and we'll talk some LSU football. Hour number one of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
Let we go.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
Yo, what's happening, everyone? Welcome in. January 9th, as Taylor just told you. This is OTB, T-Bob, Alondra, and Taylor with you in studio today. I think Jake might have been on air till like 3 a.m. last night, so might check in with him a bit later. But, the end of another college football season. And what an end it was in some ways, right? I mean, the champion is interesting. The game was a bit of a slog at times, or at least this is how I would describe the game, because I do want to push back on this idea that it was, well, we'll get into all of it, but the game kind of waffled in this purgatorial state, right? Where it was not a bad game, but it was on the edge of getting bad the entire time. But it was also on the edge of getting really good, right? There was this tension the entire time, but massive credit to the Michigan Wolverines and that defense, especially as Washington's offense just could not find a way to break through and could not find a way to make it a game. And then at the very end, Michigan snowballs, and you are met with a dominant Michigan Wolverine national championship team. I mean, a team now that has, lost one game in the last 2 years, a perfect 15-0 season. And yes, they scheduled cupcakes and they scheduled BS at the beginning of the year, but ending with wins over Penn State, Ohio State, Iowa, Alabama, and Washington, who was clearly the second best team in the country. And I will not hear any of your small brain arguments as to why they were not. I am so fed up with Alabama and Georgia fans just consistently thinking they're just better than anyone and ignoring all of the football evidence that matters and may say otherwise. Like all these Alabama fans, okay, well, Washington beat the team that beat you by 10 in Tuscaloosa. And they never lost the lead, like they never, like Texas. If Dylan Johnson doesn't go down, then Texas never even has a chance to win that game. Oh, but the game was in September. Well, guess what? Washington got better. Texas got better as well. And Georgia, you were overrated all year long. And then you go and you lose to Alabama, who wasn't actually that good. Like, show me where Jalen Milroe in this offense. So I don't mean to start it this way, but there's just been a lot of this that I've seen online. And my overall point in saying this is that these are the two best teams in the country for college football this year. And Michigan is an undisputed champion. And you have to give them their roses. And I would say they're a very satisfying champion, and that clearly they were the best team in the sport. Now, the main debate coming into this game was which was going to be more true, right? Or, yeah, there were two truths, right? Michigan had never played an offense like this. Washington had never played a defense like this. Well, I ended up being wrong, right? I thought that in this day and age that quarterbacks and weapons and overwhelming offense, that's actually how you win these matchups nowadays. And that would beat a great defense every time. And Michigan won this debate. And it wasn't even close. And in doing so, they kind of fly in the face of a lot of our modern theory about college football and team building and whatnot and styles to win. And really, that's what Jim Harbaugh and Michigan have been doing for years. now. And if you look at the game last night, some will want to go out, some will want to blame the Washington defense. The Washington defense had an awful start. Make no mistake about it, right? But they did their part. They actually somehow, after getting run over, looking completely outclassed, like it wasn't even going to be close, they actually somehow rallied. They held strong. And what was the final score? 33? 34?
34-13.
I view the Washington defense as having functionally given up 27 points, right? And then you get the pick from Sanderson and you get the snowball effect, right? If you would have told Washington pregame you would allow 27, I think they would have taken that. I think that's a very realistic landing spot for how you evaluated this Michigan offense in that Washington defense. And so those were the weaker sides of the ball for both teams. Ultimately, the strength on strength was going to be that point that we just talked about, that battle between this incredible Washington offense, this excellent Michigan defense, and who would make the plays. Could they confuse Penix? Could they win those one-on-one balls? And the answer is a resounding yes. I mean, when you're on this stage, if you want to win a championship, your best players have to show up in the biggest moments. Will Johnson showed up. The pick that he had was unreal. As a Washington running back, plays about as good as you can. Coming out of half, Washington has all the momentum. First play, Will Johnson finds a way, like as it's being batted out of his hands, to fall, stay in bounds, and come up with the pick. Mikey Sanders still showed up. Tackles, picks, leadership, everything. J.J. McCarthy showed up. The Michigan O-line definitely showed up, but without one of their best players. Edwards and Corum, Page, everybody. None of the Washington guys that you've relied upon all year long made plays. I mean, Odunze, I guess you could say, did, because at times he was open and Penix missed him, and that's just the nature of wide receiver. It's a weird position where you are dependent upon another person and your success is contingent upon that person. But nobody showed up for Washington. But one thing I want to fight against is this idea that it was Washington just playing poorly. I think this was Michigan forcing them to play poorly, right? Like when you see Michael Penix Jr. look so incredible all year long in both and especially in the biggest stages, right? Not that he didn't have bad games, but generally on the biggest stages, he was really good. Really good in both Oregon games against a very good defense. Absolutely magical against Texas in the semifinal. It's a very good front seven. Now, the difference is Michigan is the most complete team in the entire country. And they were able to get pressure with 4, and then the coverage on the back end was just better than anything that Penix and Washington had seen all year long. And one of the plays that, and they also confused, I mean, great Jesse Minter and Sharon Moore are two of the best coordinators in the entire country. And one of the plays I keep going back to, so it was so fascinating, right? Michigan comes out and we're talking like makes a statement. 8 plays right down the field. 5 of the plays are first downs. The big weakness when you talked about that side of the ball, or the big matchup there, was going to be like, clearly Michigan should have a ton of success running the ball. Well, they put like an exclamation point on it. All of a sudden, Washington feeling like, okay, we got to score. And this is where you're and when you're talking about how, like, I ended up favoring Washington and how if you believed in Washington where you landed, it was just kind of an over-the-top sort of ethereal trust in the magic of Michael Penix. And so this is what you're counting on that first drive. And in that first drive, you end up having to use 2 timeouts, adding extra pressure to make that investment pay off. You have to get in the end zone. It's 3rd and goal. Washington sends him in. Herbie did such a fantastic job of breaking it down live. But I think this one play is very representative of how it went so wrong for Penix all night long. So Washington sends a man in motion. The read, as a defender follows him, makes Michael Penix think that it's man coverage. Only the safety hangs back, knowing a crosser's coming. So Penix, the read that he has nailed pre-snap is suddenly thrown into disarray, and the pass rush is picked up. But If you talk to a great quarterback, when you're dealing with pass rush, it's never as much sight as it is feel and your internal clock. And so even if there's no pressure a lot of times, if you held on to it for 3 seconds and you know that like 90% of the time that's when a sack is incoming, you start to freak out a little bit. You start to speed up. So it's actually picked up pass rush-wise, but you can see his internal clock, alarm bells ringing, and he tries to quickly switch to Nunza, and he misses the throw. Did Penix miss the throw? Yes. But it was a forced error, not an unforced error. And then the pass rush starts to get home later in the game, and they just beat the hell out of him, and then he's clearly just a shell of himself. If there was one moment in which you could say maybe a bit unforced or just like that Penix didn't have it, or this type of moment you have to have, again, I still think not having it is more about going what's been the best pass defense in the entire country all year long. But it's the 17-3 fourth down play where you had a wide open Rome Odunze. Penix showing a little too much fear of the safety there, trying to lead him too much to the outside. Where it's fourth down, maybe you play a bit more risky. Maybe you bend it a bit more in and be willing to have that safety break it up because or pick it off because it's fourth down. Like the worst thing you can do is just throw it to where Odunze doesn't even have a chance to catch it. And unfortunately, it wasn't a wide margin, but these are the margins. Just a foot or two out of Rome Odunze's reach. And at that moment, that felt like ball game. That felt like Michigan was going to make it 24-3. So that's where I say credit the Washington defense because they stuck around. They hung tough. They set the Huskies up for the Wombo combo, the score before half, score right coming out of half. The best combination in all of football in that middle eight. And Washington made somewhat exciting. Looked like maybe they would. And then that Michigan defense and Will Johnson, their best player, their superstar, shows up in the second half and gets that pick. And so here you have an offense in Washington that consistently was great all year long, but consistently couldn't come through. Again, the 2 timeouts in the first drive, the missed fourth down throw when it was 17-3, the interception beginning of the second half, then the drop third down in the second half from the freshman. That would have been a pretty big conversion. The holding penalty on the first play that Washington finally got a big play. But again, these mistakes, in my opinion, are not unforced. They were forced by a great and the most complete defense in the entire country. And I find that satisfying. Like as a viewer, the game was not great, but the champion is satisfying. That is clearly the best team in the entire country. We said it yesterday. They're just too complete. There was no glaring weakness. It was just that, like, could the advantage of quarterback and weapons and battle-tested nature push Washington over the top? But again, I was guilty of discrediting Michigan's own battle-tested nature. When you look at Penn State, Ohio State, Iowa, Alabama, the big wins that I mentioned, those were battles. Those were close games. And yet Michigan controlled every game, much like they did last night, almost with the feel of like a boa constrictor. And people may say, oh, but look at J.J. McCarthy's final stat line. It's garbage. He didn't play well. Well, again, I disagree. He did what he had to do. Not playing. It's just that Michigan plays with a style that is out of time and out of place in a lot of ways. It's old school. It's Bo Schembechler. It's a great offensive line, dominant running attack, throwing just enough, and then just dominant swarming defense. And so some will tell you it was a sloppy game. Again, I think this is one of the issues. When you see a ton of points scored, we never say sloppy. We normally just say great offensive football. When you see a Washington offense get held to 13, we say sloppy instead of great defensive football. And who would have ever fathomed that Michigan would end up here after 2020? A year in which they went 2-4. A year in which we were all getting these jokes off about Harbaugh didn't have it. Harbaugh needed to be fired. Michigan needed to move on. It's a testament to a couple of things. 9 years it took Jim Harbaugh to build this thing. I know that sounds weird because if you're my age, it probably feels like not that long ago Jim Harbaugh got this job, but no, time moves fast, right? 9 years ago, nearly a decade, Harbaugh's been building this thing, incrementally improving. You remember the Michigan State punt that went awry and lost him that game back in the day? I think that might have lost him a spot in the playoff. Couldn't win the big game. Couldn't beat Ohio State. They say they created the beat Ohio State period. They did it. Couldn't beat Georgia. And then it was like, well, you'll never beat Georgia or Alabama playing their game. You're not going to create this old school bully ball team in the Big Ten and be able to beat the big dogs of Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. They created a beat UGA period. And I would say that beating Alabama checks that box. Incremental improvements, slowly bettering themselves day by day over 9 years. And now it culminates in a 15-0 national championship season. A testament to patience and process. And for the leadership of Michigan, for having the balls to stick by your guy if you really believe in him. And I know like Harbaugh took pay cuts, I believe at times, but they didn't get too reactive. And that's not to say, don't misconstrue me as saying that like you always have to have patience with someone, right? Like if we look at the Saints and Dennis Allen, I don't think there's any reason to have patience because I don't think the ceiling is high and I don't think it's ever going to get right and I don't think his players really like whatever. I'm just saying in this, you have to evaluate as a leader, you have to evaluate in every situation, how do I really feel about this guy? And credit to Michigan leadership because they decided to stick with Jim Harbaugh through that bad. And after going 2-4 in 2020, you go 12-2, 13-1, 15-0. A consistent incremental climb. Nothing fluky about it. Hell of a job. If you are a Michigan fan today, enjoy this because I don't think anybody can call into question what you earned this year. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Go to break. When we get back, let's talk about, I want to talk a bit more about Blake Baker. Me and Taylor in the document were kind of discussing like potential coaches for position coaches, and we can get into some of that, but in kind of starting to think about that, what I really ended up thinking about was maybe just how exciting Blake Baker is going to be for this linebacker room specifically. So we'll break that down next here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
K2Z window coverings, KTOZblinds.com. You're watching the game yesterday in your outdoor living space. Maybe you're watching the game like the man cave or something, and you got a glare on the TV. Freaking sucks. Well, that's where K2Z comes in. Take advantage of their decades of experience in the game, their expertise. Get that free estimate as they walk through your home. See exactly how it's situated, where the light hits certain times of day. Find you the answer both functionally and aesthetically. Like if you want to take your home to the next level, the interior of your dreams, K2Z, they're the partners to help get you there. So have Brandon Barton out to your home today. It's K2Z window coverings. Window coverings at wow. KTOZblinds.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luber for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Sandiger, join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. We're recapping the Natty, and Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Now maybe did I mean to treat you bad, but I did it anyway.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Oh, my God, dude. I mean, right when you open the chat, Enoch, Bama and Georgia would beat Washington. Bama lost by 10 to Texas at home, and Washington beat Texas to the point where Texas never even had the ball with the ability to take the lead until the final moment. And they only got that opportunity because Dylan Johnson had a freak injury in what should have been the game-ending play. Shut up. How do we get so confident in our own analysis to where the football doesn't matter? Everybody had their shot. Georgia wasn't that good. Not by Georgia standards. Obvious weaknesses. Like, Taylor, go look at box scores. Find me the good defense that Alabama's offense did anything against. There is none. There's no great impressive win. There's no great moment. Alabama, you're telling me the team that needed a 4th and 31 miracle to beat Auburn, who was god-awful this year, is just better than Washington? That's hubris, y'all. That's pride. That is so stupid. Like, the football has to matter. I hate that this is where this conversation going, but it seems like it's so prevalent right now. And that's like what kept Florida State out, is that same damn attitude. Just this belief that Alabama or Georgia would have won. Alabama. No, they didn't. Like, you still cannot convince me that FSU, even without Jordan Travis, could not have played Michigan as well as Alabama did, because that defense were some absolute dogs and could have shut Alabama down in a similar fashion, or as well as Michigan played them. Chance to shut up, T-Bob. The best team doesn't always win. Then why crown a champion? What are you talking about? Why crown? And I feel you could say that maybe sometimes teams are better than others. I just don't think that's the case with Washington this year. And I don't think it's fair at all to dismiss Washington in the way that you did, because Michigan came out and won in a semi-dominant fashion. That's more of a credit to Michigan than it is a knock against Washington. And why don't we do it in any other sport? The 9-7 Giants beat the 18-0 Patriots, and yet no one sits there and talks about how the Patriots are better. It's just college football, where we ignore the results and we're like so obsessed with our own viewpoints that we think that, exactly, like Edward O says, we all know Georgia was really the best team. Then why'd they lose to an Alabama team that lost twice and should have lost thrice? What are we talking about, guys? At a certain point, give respect to the actual game, to the game that is played between the lines, to the on-field results, not recruits, not who you think should win, not who you bet on. Scott, week 2 versus week 14, says Champ, talking about the Alabama loss. Okay, you don't think Texas got better? What are we talking about? Texas got better too. Texas was rolling at the end. That's how, when we're debating who gets in the playoffs, Texas wasn't even in the debate. They were in because they were playing so well and they dominated the Big 12 championship so much. Ay, ay, ay. Just crazy to me. Crazy to me. Congrats to Michigan, though. And congrats to Washington. It was an awesome year. I don't know what they're going to do after Michael Penix Jr., but it was an awesome year. Watch me out. All I know is LSU goes 15-0 with the top 50 defense this year. I think LSU, without a doubt, championship relevant as Alabama, Michigan, Washington, if you would have had a championship defense. Like, as awesome as Michael Penix Jr. is and has been this entire year, Jaden Daniels was better. And I was not one of the people like doing the victory lap, like, is this your king from Black Panther that everybody was doing last night about Michael Penix Jr.? But I get why LSU fans love their guy, right? And they're not going to take any slander on their Heisman winner. I feel that. And like, I think the one player that would have beaten this Michigan defense or, really made them struggle would have been Jaden Daniels. That's how good that man was. Best player in the country. That's why he won the Heisman. But LSU didn't have a top 50 defense. Now they're tasked with bringing in a man who is I can't have this. I got to just close the chat for just a minute. Now they're tasked with bringing a man who can get them to that top 50, and that's Blake Baker. Real quick, Taylor, you wanted to have this conversation about like who we maybe like for each position coach spot. I don't know that I have any very strong opinions here. I mean, I'm a basic boy. Love Corey Raymond, right? You could somehow get Bo Davis, which feels impossible given the amount of money he makes. Sure, that'd be like a dream, LSU guy, incredible resume, really would develop that D-line excellently. Did you have any names that you specifically wanted to mention?
He's a guy that's flown under the radar a little bit. He's a D-line coach. Look, I love Bo Davis as well. He makes $1.1 million in
and you
Texas.
just paid $2.5,
and
you're paying
$2.5
buyouts
for a DC. Yeah, that's a lot to pay for a D-line coach. A name that's been thrown out a little bit, though, is Eric Henderson with the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
I mean, we know he has a ton of talent on that D-line. He's coached Aaron Donald. He went to college at Georgia Tech, but he grew up in New Orleans and played football at Edna Carr. He knows how to recruit that New Orleans area. He's from that area. The last time he was a college defensive line coach was UTSA under Frank Wilson as head coach, so there's familiarity there as well. He's been a really good D-line coach in multiple stops. He's a guy that I think LSU should take a look at.
Yeah, definitely, right? And anytime you work with Aaron Donald and then you are talking to college kids, I feel like that plays. I don't know if I can speak to the quality of his coaching, but you don't become a NFL D-line coach by accident, right? Especially not with someone as shrewd as Sean McVay making those calls. So that would definitely be someone to pursue. So what I kind of ended up getting on, and again, I am really enjoying, again, this is not a sponsorship, guys. This is not a free ad. This is just me trying to credit what I believe to be great work. I am really enjoying my On3 membership. And I think Matthew Brune does a really excellent job breaking down just the LSU news cycle. And Shea Dix is the whole team. But Brune had a fantastic article looking at Blake Baker and the linebacker growth specifically that he has done in his career. And we all know, look, we know about the numbers in terms of the overall turnaround in the Mizzou defense, right? I think they went from giving up 32 a game a couple of years ago when he got the job to now 20 a game. It went from the 100 in teams to a top 30 defense this year. So overall, it was great. But we remember what he did with Damone Clark, turning him into a butt kiss finalist. I didn't realize, really, this is just not paying enough attention to Mizzou, but their linebacker this year, Tyron Hopper, was also a Butkus finalist. And this was a guy that was at Florida for 3 years, not really making any waves. He comes to Mizzou, much like Clark. All of a sudden, he goes from kind of just in the background to a true star. In his 2 years, 19.5 TFLs, 5.5 sacks, 132 tackles. Smaller guy, 6'2", 220. Made him really good in pass coverage, great at rushing the passer. You know what's crazy about Damone Clark? Do you remember how good Damone Clark's numbers actually were that season? I did not until I came across this again in Brune's piece. Damone Clark, who was awful, we thought like really bad, like some of the worst linebacker play we'd ever seen. The next year after Pelini had in 12 games, 135 tackles, 15.5 TFLs, 5.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles in 12 games. And this is at 6'3", 240. So in Hopper, you have someone who's on the smaller side, 6'2", 220. And Clark, you have someone on the bigger side, 6'3", 240. And yet, what did Blaker do? Blaker? He made them both into Butkus finalists. And now, he gets his hands on Whit Weeks, Greg Penn, Harold Perkins, talented incoming freshman. Ooh, boy. I mean, you cannot tell me. Look at those sack numbers for Hopper and Clark. Guys, this is not financial advice, but I would buy stock in Percules right now. And regardless of what position he ends up playing, whatever, I feel so abundantly convicted that Blake Baker is going to be able to do what we begged Matt House to do from this last year, which was maximize Harold Perkins, feature him, create with him, use this, torpedo of a human being, this just rocket ship of a man that you have. Use him, feature him, make him effective. Don't hide him. Don't ask him to do pedestrian things. Set him up to do great things. It was one of the greatest sins of this last season defensively. There's a Mike Golick Jr. tweet that's burned into my head. I think it might be from the Alabama game, but it was watching Harold Perkins Jr. play football this year makes me sad. And because that's a guy that was supposed to be the 4th best player in all of college football coming into the year and still found his way to some pretty respectable stats and still was the only guy that really flashed consistently on this LSU defense, but still so much potential. So much meat left on the bone. Well, you got a carnivore in Blake Baker that I think that's going to eat all that meat up. I think Harold Perkins is going to return to true Percules form and even then beyond, like reach a final form. Harold Perkins is going to go Super Saiyan. And look, we saw the potential of Whit Weeks. Great ball instincts, great speed, solid tackler. It's a hell of an attitude, man. That looks like he's straight out of Dazed and Confused. And then who knows what he can do with Greg Penn, right? Somebody who would be a bit more of the Clark profile, a bit bigger, a bit more plotting, been a bit up and down. I'm excited for Greg Penn to get a. I'm more of a, I can see the potential of Weeks and Perkins, and I think that's going to be awesome. Penn, I'm a little more unsure about where that ceiling is, what that potential is. But again, what you want out of a coach is, are you elevating guys? Or are you dragging them down? And I believe that when it comes to that position group, like he's going to elevate the entire defense. But when you think about Blake Baker coaching those linebackers specifically, what starts to become very exciting. So, shout out Blake Baker. Maybe he can work that magic with Harold Perkins and get his 3rd Butkus finalist in the last 4 years. All right, when we get back here on OTB, some potential big recruiting news for the Tigers. LSU staying hot right now. We're going to talk to Matt McMahon and Coach Mulkey in hour number 2. We got OTB mailbag, Nick Underhill later. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to allstartoyotabatonrouge.com, allstartoyota of batonrouge.com. Whether you're buying new, a Toyota certified used vehicle, whatever you need, All-Star Toyota has a selection for you. But again, I keep hammering the body shop and the service center. And it's because that's who I use, right? And this is not just if you have a Toyota or anything. It's all makes and models. You go into that service center and you get your car worked on, whatever it needs. You get in an accident, insurance claims are welcome. You get that free professional estimate. They send you text updates throughout their actual people text, right? And you text back. They immediately respond. No big decisions are made without you making the final call, and you stay abreast of the situation the entire time. They have the shuttle service that'll drop you off your home, pick you back up. They have rental cars ready to go right there on site at cheaper per day rental prices than traditional rental companies. What are you waiting for? All-Star Toyota, mention OTB.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee. $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee. And all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
Join me for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, reacting to the national championship game. Glenn West on LSU as they get ready for Vanderbilt, and Sharif Ishak with the Saints autopsy. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to OTB. T-Bob, Alondra, Taylor hanging out with you this morning. Champ saying that video of that dude at Bass Pro the other day reminded me of T-Bob at Texas State, Brazil. I've been getting a lot of that, guys. I've been getting a lot of that. Okay, look. 90% of us probably would not like to go viral swimming naked in a Bass Pro Shop fish tank. Okay? Water's cold. There's, the vast majority are not going to be bringing anything impressive to bear. But do not slander me to that extent. Okay? Do not slander me to that extent. That was a medical issue that man has, okay? Get the hell out of here, champ. And everybody else, chat, freaking Twitter. So many Photoshops of my face on his as he's being led away in handcuffs, swimming around in the water. And no, once again, I never swing meat at Texas State, Brazil. That did not happen. I don't know who put that on message boards back in the day, and y'all made me feel so insecure to the point, and yes, I'm a degenerate of enough partier where I actually had to call my best friends and make sure that this never happened. But no, I did not. I mean, it is the meat house. Like, I get it. It's probably the most appropriate restaurant in which to do so. Cards on green. I got it. But no, I was just trying to eat the house special wrapped in bacon. I was busy stuffing my cargo shorts with those delicious little cheese balls that you don't want to eat there because they expand in your stomach, so you take them home with and you eat them later. Because like we've talked about on this show, eating at a buffet or an all-you-can-eat style thing is such an odd, gluttonous affair where you feel like you have to get one over on them. Like, ha! I just ate $100 of meat and only paid for $60. Joke's on you. Do I feel awful? Can I feel my blood slowing down and my capillaries constricting? Yeah, but I came out ahead. Nerds. I did not do it at Fogo de Chao either, chat. That is not true. Jeez. I forgot. Oh, yeah, this is what we're going to talk about here. Forgot a second. We actually, you know what? Let's save the Kendall Bussey talk because it probably needs an entire segment. So I got some fillers here. Shout out Jordan Wright, man. We're going to talk to Matt McMahon in hour number 2, and I'm the most guilty of ignoring this men's basketball team. As my Alabama friends have tried to mess with me about their rise in basketball, I've simply said, like, what's men's basketball? It's like a club sport, right? It's like hockey, like rugby. That's cool, man. Yeah, congrats. I'm happy for y'all. And ultimately, at LSU, like, men's basketball is going to have to win for people to care. And they're in a tough spot because resources are limited. And they play in maybe the most high-resource game on a per-player basis, right? I mean, basketball college players been getting paid big bucks. And if you're committing money to LSU right now, you're probably football first, baseball second, women's basketball right there with them. Like, you're just far down in the pegging order. So Matt McMahon is kind of operating under an impossible set of circumstances. And to go on the road and get the win over Texas A&M the way that he did, huge shout out. And a huge shout out to Jordan Wright. How about it? Co-SEC Player of the Week. 20 points, 10 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block. And in that win, to give you an idea of what tough sledding it's been, stopped a 13-game road losing streak for LSU that went all the way back to February 22. What's going on, Ted? Did you raise? There's like that dandruff commercial where you give like the wrong signals. Does anybody remember that? Head and Shoulders commercial
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, it's just in my headset. But look,
you like held up a finger.
You called on me. I'm
just your headset normally.
Okay, I apologize. No, Jordan Wright's been a godsend to this basketball team. You know, he's a 5th-year senior. Since he came in, that offense has flourished since they put him in the starting lineup because you have Jalen Cook now. So you got your point guard, right? Your spacing's been a lot better. Your distributing's been a lot better. Jordan Wright, he's that score-first guard that you were looking for. We talked about it all the time. McMahon's best teams has been with dominant guard play. You might have a pretty good combination now with a Jordan Wright and a Jalen Cook. You also got Mike Williams, the freshman, off the bench. This backcourt's going to continue to get better as the season goes along.
All right, coming up next, now we'll talk some recruiting. And again, we got McMahon and Mulkey coming up in hour number 2. Keep it locked right here on OTB.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys, 225-888-8888. Really, it's any area code, 8888. You need someone who's going to fight for you and get you what you deserve. When you get into an accident, you can be bullied by big insurance companies. And that's where Gordon comes into play. Go follow him on social media at Get Gordon. And it's a very diverse array of content. You'll get kind of general life and business tips. You'll get tips on what to do when you get in an accident, like what are the correct steps to take to make sure that you're protected and you get what you deserve. And you'll get a lot of great content with your favorite athletes. Like the Grubwood G series, where you sit down and get to learn how your favorite athletes tick, or Coach Kim Mulkey, or any of these great members of the G team. So get Gordon and get it done today.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hey, it's Matt McMahon. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We're recapping the national championship game and Saints looking ahead to 2024. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Program director says this is one of the worst natties I've ever watched. I mean, it's definitely not one of the better ones, right? I mean, 21-0 was worse. Last year was definitely worse. It is kind of a frustrating game because, again, it was on the edge of getting really good for the entire game, but it was also on the edge of getting really bad and then eventually went the bad way. So I can agree with that. Again, though, it's a worse natty because Michigan was the most complete team in the nation beginning and end. We thought they were probably the best team in the nation beginning of the year. We waffled in the middle, and at the end, they didn't finish the season necessarily strong, but they were clearly the best team in college football all over the place. Okay, so LSU recruiting news. Terry Bussey, is that a name that means anything to you? I don't know. Probably not, right? I don't know how closely you follow recruiting. Terry Bussey is a 5-star athlete that is currently committed to Texas A&M. He is going to sign in February. Now, of course, you've already flipped 4. You flipped 4 Texas A&M commits. Like, nobody has reaped more reward and nobody has suffered worse in terms of the coaching turnover at Texas A&M than what Brian Kelly has done to Mike Elko and that staff. They took Dominic McKinley recently, who's the 5-star defensive lineman. They took Weston. Like, it's all the biggest names in the class, right? It's McKinley. It's what's the big tackle's name from Texas? Oh, Weston Davis, 5-star. That's Dominic McKinley. The 4-star from Evangel, Gabriel Relaford, defensive lineman. And now you're attempting to flip a 5-star athlete in Terry Bussey. He's 5'10", 180. Seems like he could factor in that defensive backfield immediately, potentially. I had heard that LSU's definitely going to get Bussey. I don't know about that. Alabama's still in the mix. Apparently, Georgia and USC have shown up as of late. According to On3's reporting, Bussey is going to visit Athens in January, so don't love that. Still, he's been to LSU a bunch, multiple times. The path to the field at LSU would feel as wide open as anywhere you could go. And who knows? Maybe some coaching news coming down that could end up sealing the deal one way or another, right? Like if you go get Corey Raymond, does he have a relationship with Bussey? I don't know. But I do know that Corey Raymond can recruit his ass off. He can immediately form one and then maybe convince him. And if you do convince him, well, then all of a sudden this class is just impeccable. Like, I liked it pre-Dominic McKinley, pre any 5-stars. I already thought it was a fantastically constructed recruiting class. And now you add 2 different 5-stars at positions of need if they do end up landing Bussey, and that is just an absolute home run. And then when you combine it with what we broke down yesterday, the absurdity that is the 2025 class still together on this day of our Lord, January 9, 2024. It still feels too good to be true. We'll see if it ends up holding true. But this 24 class, which is now firmly in the top 10, creeping towards top 5, and is very well recruited positionally and built on a foundation of Louisiana talent, as every national championship team has been. And now in 25, you have the number one player in number one player in the entire country who's a quarterback. He's the number one receiver in the country, Decorin Moore. You got the number one running back in the country in Harlan Berry. And I think you got the top tight end, linebacker, D lineman, and I'm missing a position in the state of Louisiana already committed. I mean, it is kind of absurd the amount of offseason juice that BK and this staff and this program has right now. And it's kind of funny, Taylor, Alondra. Now, if Jim Harbaugh leaves, it's going to be very interesting to watch those BK rumors swirl. I think they go more. Michigan does, right? And again, I think that, like we kind of broke down last week, I think having your name in these rumors is always good business. Force your current employer to give you a raise, anything like that. but it is kind of funny what difference 2 weeks can make, because when this original whole BK to Michigan thing at the time, Matt House was still employed. There was some other, you didn't have Harlem Berry or Bryce Underwood. And at the time, you're kind of like, yeah, whatever, he wants to leave. Now it's kind of like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. Surely he wouldn't leave, right? We need him. And it's true. I mean, you see the 25 class, all their answers about the class are believe in the vision that what BK's building. So congrats to this staff, man. They're on a heater, and I'm excited to see how this staff ends up shaping out. All right. End of hour one. Hour two coming up. Keep it locked. Off the bench.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. on Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. Today in Baton Rouge, expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 52. In hour 2 of today's show, we'll be joined by LSU men's basketball coach Matt McMahon. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at OTB_ESPN and catch us on YouTube on the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Let we go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
Hello, what's up, y'all? Welcome in hour number 2 of OTB. It's going to be a fun hour. We are going to talk to Matt McMahon. We're going to talk to Coach Kim Mulkey. We've got Underhill coming up hour number 3. Of course, the the LSU men's team winning their SEC opener. Jordan Wright, SEC Player of the Week, like we talked about earlier, 20-10. Very impressive stuff. Home opener tonight in the PMAC against Vanderbilt. Not a good Vanderbilt team, but, you know, with LSU basketball right now, you can't really, you can't take anything for granted. So still should be a good game. If you want to support the team, go check him out in the PMAC tonight. And then, of course, Coach Kim Mulkey's squad off to a 2-0 SEC start. Bit of a battle against Ole Miss on Sunday as well. So excited to hear from Coach Mulkey as she is she's best. Christian says, sorry I'm late this morning. Did we talk about how the blue chip ratio won again? Yeah, that is one thing about this. Now, so blue chip ratio, you already know what it is. It's the amount of 4 and 5 stars you have in your roster. Since they started tracking this thing, I think it was like 13 years ago, there's never been a national champion that's been under 50%. The last one would have been Jameis Winston in that FSU team. Washington was well under. But Michigan barely broke the threshold right at 50%. So blue chip ratio reigns supreme. I still think that Michigan proved something, though. I still think that Michigan proved that that there is still, like I said, some room left in this sport for the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. To prove all the people, like everybody in chat who's just sitting there saying like Alabama's better, Georgia's better, just because they have like better recruits and maybe more NFL players. Like Michigan, who they have dogs, don't get me wrong, but they still proved that team can win. I mean, they didn't win with a Les Miles game plan, but or play design. But I'll be damned if Jim Harbaugh didn't win with a Les Miles philosophy, which is wild to think about in 2024, especially overcoming an offense like that. What do they say? They say hail to the victors, right? Hey. Undisputed national champs. Taylor, get out of this 2-shot and come tight on me. It feels weird it feels like I'm like a ghost should be sitting on the other side of me. So we do have some sad show news to get into here. It's me, Alondra, and Taylor here this morning. Mario is not here, and that is because Mario is pursuing other opportunities and no longer be on the show. And it's a bummer, man, because I love Mario. He's been a very good friend for years. Excellent insight into all New Orleans sports, passion for LSU, where he went to school. I mean, Pelicans, he was our Pelicans beat reporter. And I wish him nothing but the best for the future, because as I said, I mean, I worked with Mario for years. I feel like I've seen him grow up. I love that man, and he's awesome. He's awesome. But look, I've done this job for a long time, and that's how this goes. People come in, they go out, partners change. it's like the ship of Theseus. Theseus? The ship of Theseus, right? Which is, I only know about this because of WandaVision, which, again, I've been pretty cool on Marvel, but I do like this old kind of thought exercise of the ship of Theseus, right? Like where it's like, okay, you're sailing a ship, and over time you keep making repairs to it, and you keep replacing planks with other planks. At what point is it a different ship? Or is it still the same ship? And in the end, it doesn't really matter because you're still sailing along. And so OTB, still sailing along. And I would like to welcome our latest plank, Alondra Villarreal, to the crew. Alondra, what's going on? How are we feeling today? You excited?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah?
I'm very excited. I feel great.
I'm pumped too. I'm excited to have a female voice in the room. I have loved working with you in the past here, but also on Whiskey and Wine.
Yeah.
You did such a fantastic job producing that show this year. We did not have any technical difficulties. I said that online, and a lot of people thought I was taking a shot at Musso. That's not true. Musso doesn't produce Whiskey and Wine.
Yeah.
And he's done well when he has. He's not made mistakes either. It's just we've had others in the past who I loved as people and were awesome, but like some made more mistakes than others, and it's high pressure. Like, I'm pretty chill. Matt likes things to go according to plan. And so if the score, if the graphics aren't right and you're not ready to go right when that clock hits 0, or we're having some sort of technical difficulties, that's a bad place to be for the producers. And Alondra, I thought you handled that pressure and that smoke fantastically.
The smoke was a lot worse than having than anything else.
Yes, the literal smoke.
Yeah.
Which I love, but I understand that is maybe not for everyone.
I would literally sit there like crying my eyes out.
Like not emotionally crying,
No.
just physically leaking tears.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 But yes, I'm excited.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad to have you.
Thank you.
And look, so this is again, I said it's always there's always a feeling out process here. There's chemistry creation. We're gonna find our way the same way we've always found our way through the years as we've had changes. OTB goes on. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. Now, coming up this hour, like I said, we got McMahon, we got Mulkey coming up. But in the continued fallout from the Saints and the Dennis Allen debacle, it is painfully clear. I don't know, man. At first, I all thought this was kind of no big deal, like whatever. But the more that comes out, the more painfully clear it is that the players just do not like Dennis Allen and do not respect him. And you had Jimmy Graham tweeting yesterday, because look, it's funny to watch people fall on both sides of this issue. I know my old man was like, Jameis Winston should be cut immediately. Blah. And it's been funny. The Hoodats are coming for him. The streets are hot for him. Watch some dude in a gold Saints jersey yelling into his cell phone, calling him baby boy. And saying, you aren't saying when they were 0-3 in the playoffs in 86 or going to Atlanta. To which, look, these take streets get hot. I get it. It just is what it is. Be interested if you say it to his face, but it is what it is. I get it. You're like Shannon Sharp saying the same thing. But then you have plenty of people on the other side and plenty of people who are kind of like me where it's like, I got to see both issues, but ultimately I think Dennis Allen should have sided with his players or stuck up for his players and not apologize to the Falcons. Also, did you see the Jimmy Graham tweet? Talking about y'all get off Jameis Winston. This man's one of the best teammates that I've ever had. He's the man. And then he ends it with also F the Falcons. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. So, no, look, I agree. It is the Bush League element is to score out of victory formation, right? Because that is a gentleman's agreement that the game is over. I remember Greg Schiano looking so Bush League back in the day because he wanted his guys, who's the Bucks, to dive at the knees at the victory formation and try to force a fumble. And it's like, whatever, dude. So that's Bush League. But again, that's on Dennis Allen. His players clearly told him they wanted to score a touchdown. Allen said no. They should have just lined up and tried to score a touchdown. And they didn't. And then they went a bit rogue. And again, whatever. Is it a bit Bush League? Yeah. But it's your arch rival. F the Falcons, as Jimmy Graham says. And that's kind of the mindset that Allen should have. And even though it's not representative of him, he probably should have stood up there and said, hey, yeah, players decide to do it, and I'm down for what the players do. And instead, he's apologizing to Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith. And Taylor raised a great point in our group chat. Is Arthur one of the softest names in just history? Like the softest, and not last names. It's a fine last name. But in terms of first names, it's got to be one of the bad. So here's what we're going to do. Taylor has put together a list of the top 4 softest names that somebody can have. But given our time here, we're going to go talk to the coaches. We'll revisit this at the end of the hour. Coming up next, we got LSU head men's basketball coach Matt McMahon here on OTB. Keep it locked.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
OTB, speaking of sailing on, finding new partners, new planks, I am so excited to be working with Tommy's Windows. Tommy's been in the game for 27 years, a former member of the Golden Band from Tigerland. So he's in it for 27. Right about 7 years ago, Tommy's like, you know what? Look, man, I think there are some things that how I would run a business that I want to do differently. I'm going to start my own. And what a 7 years it's been. Go look at the online reviews. Google Tommy's Windows, tommyswindows.com. Go check them out. Massively good reviews. A very strong price point. The customer service separates. Tommy himself, one of the separating factors. The man just has an energy that is infectious. And look, don't just take my word for it. Make us one of the 3 bids and let Tommy prove it to you, okay? Make us one of your 3 bids and let Tommy's Windows prove it to you. More to be next.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
You gotta keep them separated.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. OTB, hour number 2. And right now, it is my pleasure to welcome in the head coach of LSU men's basketball. We have not talked in a while, Coach Matt McMahon. Coach McMahon, what's going on, man? How we feeling this morning? Game day.
It is game day. It's a beautiful day in Baton Rouge for basketball, and excited to get the SEC home opener rolling tonight.
Yeah, man. And look, what a start to SEC play. And we'll get into all of it and kind of everything surrounding the program right now and where things are going. But basketball right now, there's I would say it's probably fair to say there's not a ton of belief, right? At least from some of the fans. And then yet you come out here on the road against Texas A&M, a very good rebounding team, and you emerge with a 68-53 win. You beat them on the boards, and you break a streak that went all the way back to February 22 in terms of a road losing streak, Coach. And I know these are very tough things to discuss, right? But like this is the road to improvement. This is how that road is hoed. What did it feel like in that locker room to emerge victorious and now sit at 1-0 in SEC play?
Well, I was obviously thrilled with the win and the result, but I was more excited about how it happened and why it happened. I just thought our guys played with the toughness, the grit, the physicality that we want our program to be about. Going in, A&M number 1 in the country in offensive rebounding, literally rebounding 1 out of every 2 of their missed shots, and to go in there and outscore them 18-3 on second chance points, to limit them to 53 points. They had a 12-game SEC home winning streak in that building. To put an end to that streak. I just love the competitiveness and togetherness of our team. And as I told them afterwards, that's the standard.
Yep.
And that's what we got to play to every single night out. And so, since Jalen Cook got eligible on January 16th, our season really started over. We've made a lot of progress and gotten a lot better, but certainly a long way to go. But that was a great first step on Saturday night, that's for sure.
Well, and look, and now, immediate recognition. Jordan Wright being named co-SEC Player of the Week, 20-10, great performance. You had to have it. What has Jordan Wright meant to kind of creating that success alongside like Jalen Cook?
Yeah, first off, that's the lesson, right? Sometimes we get the order confused. We think the individual success comes and then the team, but it's the team success. And then the individual honors and accolades and all that follows. So I think Jordan would acknowledge, a tough team win on the road put him in a position to earn that award. He was fantastic. He's been really good, especially you look over the last month. He's been our leading scorer all year, but he's been so much more efficient offensively. Since that ridiculous performance at Texas, he's averaging 20 a game. Shooting 50% from the floor. He leads the SEC in steals, which has been huge for us on the defensive end. and just providing that leadership as a fifth-year guy. So I know this is a unique game for him tonight. I don't know if it's ever happened where a guy who's going up against the school he played for 4 years and has a degree from that institution, but I think he's very mature and will be locked in on the things that matter the most tonight to impact winning.
Well, and I want to start to preview the Vandy game again. Go get your tickets tonight in the PMAC, 8 p.m. It's going to be a great game. But, Coach, I want to kind of have a little bit of a big picture discussion. Yeah. And it's, as I said, I think you're in a tough position in that you are in a sport where there are massive resources poured in some other places, right? And if you just look at right now and LSU and everybody trying to get their kind of piece of the pie, you're having to fight kind of a bit shorthanded in these battles. How do you seek to How do you seek to find a way, right? I mean, you mentioned team, you mentioned things like culture. Like, how do you create that when you have some just objective disadvantages versus some of the people you're competing against?
Well, you knew going in that the situation was difficult, but that was known. I mean, from day one.
Yeah.
But now it's about, man, you got to build. You got to build. You got to stack days consistently. We have to continue to recruit guys that are going to come in here and help us rebuild the program. And, it's our responsibility to put a product out on the floor. Quite frankly, where guys play their tail off. They play the right way. They take great pride in representing LSU and the state of Louisiana. And I think you saw that on Saturday night. Now we got to build on it. And I think when, people respect hard work, they respect toughness, they respect playing as a team and taking pride in representing that jersey. And, that's how you start to build some support and start to build an army of people that want to be a part of rebuilding the team and the program. So, we're headed in the right direction. If you look at the last month, we've made a lot of progress. We were absolutely brutal in turnovers, defensive rebounding, and defending the three-point shot through 10 games. Not only have we taken those from being, really poor, but they've actually been strengths of our team over the last month. And so we got to continue to build on that.
So how do you do that? How have you taken elements that were a weakness and in a short amount of time managed to kind of flip that?
Yeah, I think just practice. And I know not the old Allen Iverson quote, but it's the only way I know is if you want to get better at it, you got to get in here and work and be very intentional. We've had very competitive practices over the last month, and I think that's helped us improve on the defensive end and on the rebounding. Now the offensive piece comes down. I mean, we can scheme it up all we want. You got to have talented offensive players in this league, and I think with Jalen Cook getting eligible, I always say it, that point guard position, your number one responsibility is to make everyone else better.
Yeah.
Out there on the court. It's no different than a quarterback on the football field. And he's made the game easier for us offensively. We've been able to get better shots. Our assist-to-turnover ratio, which was poor early in the year, has been really good since he got back with the team. And I think it's raised the level of everyone else on the program. So, it's not going to happen overnight, certainly. But we got to be consistent and stack days, and ultimately win games. And that's we all know how we're judged in this business.
Yeah.
And tonight's the next opportunity, the home SEC opener. I know our guys have prepared and looking forward to the opportunity tonight.
So what have you seen out of Vanderbilt? What do you think what challenges does Vanderbilt represent?
Yeah, great point. They struggled early in the year, but over since Christmas they've played well. They should have won at Memphis, top 20 team in the country. End up losing by 2. Just lost by 3 to Alabama on Saturday. You have to defend the 3-point line. Coach Stackhouse, they run about 115 NBA set plays, and he gets good shots for them. So you got to make sure you defend the three-point line. Magnon at the point guard position is probably the quickest player in the league. Got to do a really good job containing him off the dribble. But then the message to the team is, all that stuff's great. We got to be more concerned with LSU. We got to keep getting better in those areas we've talked about. Offensive execution, taking care of the ball. I would love to see the physicality and toughness we played with on Saturday on the rebounding boards be who we are, not just a one-off. And so, I really want to establish that physical presence tonight on the glass.
Hell yeah, Coach. I'm excited, man. SEC opener tonight, 8 p.m. in the PMAC. Go pack it out. Support the boys. Help cheer them on. Potential 2-0 SEC start. And, keep grinding, Coach. It's great catching up with you, certainly. And thank you for making some time for us this morning.
Man, really excited about tonight. Appreciate you having me on. 72 degrees and sunny in the PMAC tonight. Hope everyone will come out and join us.
Hell yeah, man. Get out to the PMAC tonight. Coach Matt McMahon, head LSU men's basketball coach. Again, it's tough to have some of those kind of uncomfortable conversations with coaches, but I've talked about on air, right? I think Matt McMahon is having to kind of do this shorthanded. He doesn't have the investment of a lot of the other schools. He doesn't have the investment here or necessarily the mind share because of how great some of the other programs are right now. And if he pulls this off, if he makes LSU into a respectable basketball program, he should get bonus points for the context in which he is operating. And already that 1-0 start was something that was very unexpected. Breaking a 2-year road losing streak for LSU. And also, as he just alluded to, breaking a 12-game home winning streak in the SEC for Texas A&M. And winning by 15 and beating up a team that was the number one offensive rebounding team in the country on the boards. Okay, I see you. Now let's see what you do against Vanderbilt tonight. All right, coming up next, talk to Coach Kim Mulkey. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to allstartoyotabatonrouge.com, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com, All-Star Toyota. You want real Toyota service real fast? Go bring your vehicle into the service center today. If you get in an accident, all makes and models are welcome. Okay, this is not just Toyota. And the service center has a bunch of distinct advantages over other body shops and whatnot. First off, the quality of the work is fantastic, right? Let's just get that out of the way up front. Insurance claims are welcome. Free professional estimate. Great communication throughout the process. Factory parts right there on site for immediate repairs. Shuttle service that'll drop you off and pick you back up as your vehicle's being worked on. The rental cars from Miss Lisa Sessions right there on site. Cheaper per day rental prices than traditional rental companies if it's like a really big job. They're simply the best, man. And if you mention OTB, you mention Jake, you mention T-Bob, you get $100 towards that deductible. All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hey, it's Matt McMahon. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal.
On Tuesday's OTB, we'll recap the football national championship, who ended up taking home the sport's biggest trophy, plus start to break down the NFL playoffs. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Just took my son to a drug domain. You can't run it over again. Don't scream aloud, don't think aloud. Turn your head now, baby, just spit me out. Don't worry about, don't speak about.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. OTB. And every Tuesday at 8:30, we are graced with the presence of multi-time national champion and reigning national champion, the legend herself, Coach Kim Mulkey. Coach Mulkey, what's going on? How does this morning find you?
Well, I sat and waited all day for that horrible weather we were supposed to get yesterday. I'm still looking out the window like the old folks did back in the day. I hadn't seen anything but a few raindrops. I see sunshine this morning.
You sound like my wife, who is nearly broken by the fact that on the first day after Christmas break, the kids got a half day.
Exactly.
She
I'm
just
like,
needed a little break.
That blew my mind, but listen, hey, I haven't been in South Louisiana long enough to complain. I know it's better to be safe than sorry.
Well, Coach, last time we talked, we were on the edge of SEC play. You had Mizzou at home looming. You had a road trip to Ole Miss looming. And here we sit a week later, and what did y'all do? Y'all do what y'all always seem to do. You got it done, and you win the game. Let's talk about Ole Miss on the road, a real battle, right? And y'all are a team that seems to win by these margins that when you get in a fight, it's almost like surprising at times. How did you feel that your team responded against Ole Miss on Sunday?
Well, the last 2 years, it's been dogfights, too. The first, I can't remember which, we won by 4 one year. We won by 9, I think, last year. So we're increasing that lead a little bit. We won by 11. They play really good defense. Their strength is they're big everywhere. They're athletic. Their defense is better than their offense. And, for a coach that loves defense and rebounding, I've always had great respect for the job that she's doing. Now, we gave up too many points, and that's a work in progress for us on the defensive end, but we we can score the ball on our worst night.
Yeah.
You saw we scored 84 points. We scored 50 and a half. And I'm sitting here going, okay, so I've got to get this mindset of my team to change. I feel like they have the mindset that, we're going to outscore everybody, let them score their points. And I've just got to stay on them on the defensive end. And that's not to take anything away from Ole Miss. They were fired up. See, Bob Hester, those guys had a record-breaking crowd. When we pulled up on that bus, I asked the driver, just slow down so these kids can see again what they have created, this monster that we have created on the road. Now, granted, a lot of those had Ole Miss shirts on, but they were not there to see Ole Miss. They really weren't.
No.
I think our introduction was louder than theirs. And it hit me when the game was over and you watch Angel Reese go out there to take pictures with those fans who wait and wait. It's almost like I'm coaching the Beatles or something. It's nuts.
Well, and it's crazy, too, because, like, even the fans who are fans of the school that you are playing are still there to see y'all, right? Like, I grew up in Atlanta, right? We go to Hawks games all the time, but, like, the best ones was when, like, Michael Jordan was coming to town or Shaquille O'Neal and the Magic, right? I mean, that's what this is. You know what it kind of reminds me of, Coach? There's a video with Jim Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson from a couple of years ago where John Harbaugh, excuse me, he's talking to Lamar Jackson and he's basically just speaking on the impact that he is having and how proud he is of him because he is setting he's such a guiding light for so many young athletes. And maybe up to that point we're told, oh, you're not a quarterback, you can't do this, you can't do that. And now you have guys like Jaden Daniels, right, who fully grew up in this era. No, I can do this. And now Jaden trending towards being a top pick because of someone like Lamar Jackson's success. Do you see kind of Angel Reese and your team and these other superstars kind of leading in that same way, proving to young girls out there that, no, you can have great success, not just like athletically, but financially, character-wise, like you can do this?
Well, I think you guys are football players. Let's just back it on up to when your dad played. We want to put people in a box. There was never the dual threat quarterback years ago. There was never the running quarterback. And you sit there and you put the good athletes at wide receiver or running back, and I'm thinking, well, hell, the quarterback's a specialty position. Put somebody there that can run the ball sometimes.
And they touch the ball every play.
and then we get scared, oh, they're going to get hurt, and they usually do. But so does a running back, so does a receiver. Times change, guys, is what I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And when times change, you can't be afraid of it. And the times have changed for women's basketball, particularly at LSU. These kids are celebrities. These kids are millionaires. These kids are. But what hasn't changed is their will to win, and they allow me to coach them. And when that changes, I'm getting out, because if you don't have a leader and you don't have discipline in that locker room and they're not following you, then you've lost your locker room. And when I watch them play and I watch them listen and I watch that eye contact in the timeout and I watch their will to win, that's never going to change as long as I'm coaching. But what's the attraction is talent. The attraction is winning. But when you sit there and you watch us, I think my son said it best after the game. He went with us to Ole Miss, and he said, Mama, you got people at Ole Miss coming to watch y'all play that have never watched women's basketball.
Yeah.
And I said, who are you talking about? He goes, Mom, I'm sitting with Dash the whole game, the quarterback for Ole Miss. He walked in, he's like, this is fun. Oh, my gosh, listen to your team. They talk trash. So you have a group of young ladies in that purple and gold that attract different people for different reasons, whether it is Angel Reese's little group or whether it's Flage, whether it's my outfit. You've got just a bunch of stuff going on, and, guys, that's good for women's basketball. It really is.
I mean, it's been great. And look at the ratings, and look at attendance numbers, and look at season tickets, right? Like it's everything that you envisioned when you got here, and then some. It's wild, the kind of revolution that is taking place. In terms of what's next, You got a big one coming up Thursday, Coach. It's a good Texas A&M team.
A&M is much improved. And here's the stat that'll stand out when I'm in that film room with them this morning because we had to give them yesterday off. I'm big on field goal percentage defense, and that's why I know we're not there yet because we're way lower than I want to be. And A&M is number 2 in the country in field goal percentage defense, and that tells you that they're guarding people. That tells you they're much more talented than they were. They have a lot of transfers. They have freshmen that are now sophomores and confident. So it's going to be a different A&M team than what maybe you saw in recent years because they have a new coach who's gone out and just improved their team. And we'll get in the film room this morning before practice and get after it on the floor, and tomorrow get after it and try to hold, home court. We don't want to give up a loss at home. And then we'll go on the road to Auburn Sunday, and Auburn is much improved as well. So the transfer portal has made a lot of people better quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Coach. I thought it was going to lead to kind of a hyper concentration of power at the top, but what I kind of have realized is that that already existed. This is democratized college sports, where now seasons aren't sunk like they may have been in the past because you didn't have a point guard or you didn't have a quarterback, and it's really made everybody more competitive, which as a coach I'm sure is very tough, but as a consumer is kind of great, right? I mean, it's very exciting. You mentioned the will to win being the same, right? As everything changes around you, what about kind of the core tenets of what it takes to win? Like you mentioned A&M's defense, and obviously you got strength on strength there with the all scoring going against that A&M defense. But what are your kind of core tenets from style of play in terms of winning a championship, or does that change team by team?
I think okay. I have these conversations again with Kramer and my daughter who was on my staff, and they ask a lot of detailed questions. As you probably did, it's when you grow up in sports, you watch, you live, you learn. I think the coaches who get passed by as they get older are the ones that are stubborn and are set in their ways on philosophy. You don't have to change your discipline. You don't even have to like this new generation and what's important to them. I get that. Some of that is not good. But what you have to do is you have to evolve as a coach, and you got to recognize, well, yeah, I'd love to have a great post player all the time. I'd love to have a shooting guard. I'd love to have a great point guard. Sometimes you don't have that. So you have to evolve, and you've got to change to meet what their strengths are. And I've watched so many coaches, and I'll go, what are they running that for? That kid's not capable of doing that. Yeah. And then I'm like, I hope I never reach that point. The game started changing in the NBA when the post players didn't want to be back to the basket post anymore. They wanted to be guards. So they kind of evolved and changed, and it became all these guards and all that. I've been blessed to have a post, a shooting guard and a point guard. But guys, the world changes. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but this stuff with NIL, transfer portal, it has made a lot of competitive teams that weren't competitive better.
Yeah. God, I love your insight, Coach. It's so great. It's every week. It's just lessons that you can apply to not just sports, but every facet of life. I'm going to ask you, and you don't want to answer, you definitely don't have to, but I'm going to ask you kind of a ridiculous hypothetical here. I don't know if you saw what happened with the Saints on Sunday. Basically,
I knew that question was coming. I knew it was coming.
I'm sorry. Well, I don't know. It's like I appreciate your insight into these things so much.
Well, let me tell you, there's a reason I'm coaching in college and not pros. That was a pro move that was just, honestly, from a coaching perspective, shame on them.
Yeah.
Shame on them.
Yeah.
That's just a lack of respect towards your coach. Hell, that didn't get the coach for Atlanta fired, but it probably was the nail in the coffin. And I honestly, I tried to read what Jimmy Graham said, and I just quit reading it. I don't want to hear any excuses about why they did this and defend this player and do all he needed his first touchdown. Guys, you don't do that. if you watch us play and we're up and there's less than 30 seconds to go, which is the shot clock, or even in the game, you'll hear me holler red, and you go stand at half court and you dribble the ball out.
Yeah.
I've had coaches go score to try to get double-figure wins, and when I was young in this business, and I'll never forget it. You just don't do that. There's a way to do it. Now, I've done some bonehead things myself, like I might press when we're up 30 or 40, but when I say bonehead, in that moment, I'm viewing our practice. I'm sorry, our game.
Yeah, we got to practice the defense, right? I mean, like that's the golden opportunity.
And if you don't do it in a game situation in non-conference,
Yeah.
to get in shape and to see who you want to play, and I might tell the coach ahead of time, hey, I'm not looking at the score. You're going to get aggravated at me, but I got to get these kids at least 20 minutes a game, all of them, and I'm going to press and work on some things. And but yeah, that I saw that, and I thought, I don't give a rip what excuse you give. I don't even know the right word. Disobeyed you. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think it shows a lack of respect for the head coach. You know, I mean,
yeah, it does. It does, and they may love him to death. They may love that coach. I don't know that relationship, but that was not a cool move in any way.
Coach Mulkey, the legend. Go pack out the PMAC Thursday night, 7 p.m. Texas 13-2. Texas A&M #1 in field goal defensive percentage coming to town this Thursday night, 7 p.m. and then Auburn on Sunday. Coach, thank you so much for coming on. It's always like the best part of the week. You have an excellent day.
Y'all be good. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. God, life lessons every single week with Coach Kim Mulkey. What a freaking legend, dude. All right, when we get back, let's close out hour number 2 of OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light.
Go join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. We're recapping the Natty, and Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Make up your mind.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. OTB. Always love getting Coach Mulkey's insight on everything. Speaking of insight, one of my favorite old Pelicans writers and a man who I just enjoy very much. I don't think he's in the media game in an official capacity anymore. He still has the Polk and Kush podcast, but it's Scott D. Kushner. And I thought he had a pretty eloquent and insightful thread about the state of the Saints. And you're Coach Mulkey right there. Like, Coach Mulkey may disagree, obviously, right, with like run up the score, the manner they did out of victory formation, the players going rogue. And look, I don't think she's approaching it from a Saints-Falcons rivalry standpoint. She's approaching it from a coaching standpoint. What she did say there, though, was that, that's a lack of respect for the head coach, which is on the professional level happens way more in college. But anyway, the point of this, here's a thread from Scott Kushner that I want to read, and it's attached with a clip from Cam Jordan that I think speaks volumes. This is Scott's writing. Quote, "The way Saints players have openly disrespected Dennis Allen, combined with the team leaking the desire for, quote, cultural tweaks around DA and Carr, show how obscenely obtuse this entire organization is. They blame the players for hating Allen, not Allen for losing the locker room. Absurd. Everything Mickey Loomis stated publicly this year has been comically wrong-headed and misguided. And here he is guiding the Saints away from Marshawn Lattimore, Alvin Kamara, and Cam Jordan in favor of Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. It's an unimaginable bungling of the situation. In public statements this year, the Saints' most visible architects, Allen and Loomis, have ripped Saints fans and players for perceived wrongdoing against the team. These are the only two groups of people that actually matter to the franchise. What in the hell are they doing?" And then he goes on to link the Jordan video we're about to play. "These two clips from someone as respected and media savvy as Cam Jordan are absolutely screaming to be dissected. They have missed the playoffs 3 straight years and enter the offseason with the least cap room in the NFL. How does anyone see those facts and continue to forge in the same direction? There's no logic being applied." Ooh. Beautifully written, scathing, to the point, revealing, as was this Cam Jordan clip. Here's Cam Jordan wrapping up his thoughts on the season.
Last 3 years of missing the playoffs has been 9-8, 7-10, 9-8. That's not good enough. At minimum, it has to be a 10-win season, right? Whatever gets you to the playoffs. If leadership is not what it needs to be, leadership can change, just like players can change. Last 3 years of missing the playoffs.
Are you telling me that that's not a direct, the head coach needs to change? Leadership can change just like players can change. A line being drawn in the sand. And again, especially when combined with Scott's very correct observation that the Saints are kind of trying to guide you away from Cam Jordan, guide you away from Marshawn Lattimore for Alvin Kamara. They are not the future. Change those players. The future is Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. And again, like Jordan said, like Scott said, 3 straight years of missing the playoffs. Where's the logic? Where's the idea to continue with it, to continue to forge down this same path? And why is it the players' fault and the fans' fault for not liking the Saints instead of the Saints' fault? Why is it the players' fault for not liking Dennis Allen instead of Dennis Allen's fault for losing the locker room? And to me, that feels like Cam Jordan again. Scott calls Cam Jordan media savvy, and he's exactly right. It's Cam Jordan basically saying it feels like we're at a crossroad, and either we're going to change or them up there is going to change. And unfortunately, it kind of feels like they're going to stick with DA and co. We'll see. Hour 3 next.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Seeking in the industrial place.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323. LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681, offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. on Tuesday, January 9th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 52. In hour 3 of today's show, we'll talk with Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at OTB_ESPN and catch us on YouTube on the 104.5 ESPN channel. If you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can watch them at the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. Hour number 3 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
Yo, what's happening, y'all? Hour number 3 of OTB, and it is Tuesday, which means one thing. We talked to Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football. And, well, what a time to talk to Nick. As the Saints, not in the playoffs, not a high draft pick, 9-8, and yet have managed to make themselves into the talk of the NFL news cycle. And it's interesting, Nick, because I read New Orleans Football all the time. I've been a proud subscriber for years now. And I read your post game where you were kind of talking about like how, oh my God, like you finally have a dominant win. You get a tantalizing glimpse of kind of what the vision was, right? And instead of celebrating all this good, we're talking about drama. And at first I was like, okay, yeah, I agree. I see that. But I don't know, man. The more that I've basked in this, I'm happy this happened. I almost feel like this need to happen. Because obviously there are cracks in this culture that people want out there and that are hiding underneath. And it's almost like if none of this had ever happened, we would have gone down this kind of false road of, oh, look, everything's good. Everything's improving. Like, yes, the team played better. Yes, the team won. I do not think the team likes the staff. I mean, we just played a clip of Cam Jordan basically saying it's not good enough. And if you need changes in leadership, that needs to happen the same way that players can change, which felt like to me a drawing in the line of the sand of, okay, like I know y'all are probably getting ready to move on from me, maybe positioning Marchant and Lattimore, move on from him, Alvin Kamara. It felt like very much like a them or us. And it feels like Saints leadership is leaning towards DA and company, which is wild. Given that I just don't know why what he has done to prove that. I mean, how accurate do you think all of this is?
All right, so that clip, that was a question I actually asked, and I was asking about player leadership, and then people clipped it and posted it online and it kind of distorted it to make it sound like he was talking about like the front office, but he was actually talking about player leadership within that because but look, everything else I agree with totally. I mean, look, things were rough behind the scenes the whole entire year, and I mean, I'm comfortable going as far to say that there was a fracture in the locker room at a certain point, and I do think that winning a bunch of games kind of cleared some of it up. But there was a point in this season where I was certain that the ship was going out. I had a story written, like ready to like lay a bunch of stuff. Like I was just waiting. I was like, okay, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna be ready for it. It's going to come any day now. Like they lost 3 games in a row. I was like, this is it. Detroit game. This is it. Like it just never kind of came, but it was there. And I think things got better as the season went on. There's no doubt about it. I think some guys being, injured or whatever, like kind of put younger players in those spots. And then the culture started to shift back a little bit towards where they wanted it to be. And then I think by like this final game, like you kind of saw like, I think guys like A.T. Perry, Kendrick Miller, like they're more bought in probably to a way when they've never seen a different way. And I think that was kind of one of the things that kind of hurt the locker room a little bit the last couple of years is I think that guys were around during the Sean Payton way and they were so bought into it and so believed in it and thought this was the only way to win and this is the only way to go about it that when you do something different, they're like, there's absolutely no way this is going to work. And when those people are team leaders in the locker room, I think that kind of sets a tone for everybody else. So I think it's kind of been like a weird atmosphere in there to where it's just been tough to kind of get like this buy-in to everything. But I think there's no doubt about it. Like going right down here to the wire, and it's like you said, that this wasn't like a planned like mutiny or anything. It was just kind of like this thing that happened, and then it was just kind of like, wait a minute, like the coach said this isn't supposed to happen. He's super pissed off about it, and then everybody's on Twitter like tweeting things supporting Jameis. And look, I think it's kind of unfair to single Jameis out because it was like a whole entire team thing. But like Jameis, through no fault of mine at least, like became the face of this thing, and I think it's just really interesting that players are like tweeting support of him, which,
that's what I'm saying. It feels like they've been waiting to kind of get some of this out there, right? And that this wasn't, like you said, it wasn't a planned mutiny, but you don't waste an opportunity. And now everybody's hitching on to be like, no, you know what? Like, here's how I feel about it. Look, forget it. Like, I side with the players.
There's enough deniability to go like, oh, like Jameis is the best teammate ever, whatever. But like, if you read between the lines, like there was a line drawn in the sand here by the coach, and like everybody's kind of jumping on the other side of it. Now, we were in there yesterday, and I was talking to a lot of people, kind of off the record people that like I'm real cool with, that have no reason to lie or anything. And they said, I honestly don't think Jameis went out there and like planned this. Like, I think he was just out there, and he's like, Jameis, he's just kind of, like, let's go do this type of guy, like, a little bit goofy, whatever. Like, and he's just out there. Honestly, they said thinking about like, let's do this for Jamal and like, whatever. And he's like, of course he probably knows he's going to piss off the coach, but he's probably not thinking it through to the point where it's going to become like this like massive thing. It's going to look like a cheap shot, all this stuff. But then here you are. So I think on Jameis's side of it, like, I don't think he was out there like it was motivated through a pure act of defiance. I think he actually had like these intentions. As 10 feet away, you're looking at it like, man, that's kind of misguided a little bit, but it is what it is. But yeah, look, it only
becomes a massive thing because of the underlying tension, right? If things were more solid, then it's a bit more of what Jameis was kind of alluding to, like, what's the great difference between 48 and 41, right? Like it's a little bush league, but it's kind of like keep it moving.
Yeah, we were talking about this on our post game show, and like Mike's like trying to keep it a little bit more level-headed than I was at the time. But, the thing I said there was, hey, look, like I kind of know too much about some of this other stuff. And then when you know like these other things, and then you see this and it plays into this, and you're like, man, I'm going to have a story coming out later today where I lay out like some of the stuff that's happened behind the scenes. But like, look, there was a bunch of stuff going on.
Football today. Go check it out. You're going to want to read it. Trust me, I'm now excited.
Absolutely. But look, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I do think tension's kind of bubbled all season, and this is clearly like a line in the sand. But like the thing is, nothing's going to happen. Like that's the thing. Nothing is going to happen at all. Like DA's going to be the coach. The players are going to go home. They're going to come back, and this is all going to kind of just smooth over a little bit. But I mean, I think it's definitely fascinating. And then you kind of just go back and play through the season. Guys talking about playing for each other. We're playing for each other.
Yeah.
There was never, we're fighting for the coach. We're playing for each other. Alvin Kamara's comments the whole entire season, even if you aren't lifting up that curtain and looking underneath it, like there was enough sitting on the windowsill, like staring out to the outside world where you saw some of this stuff lined up. And this is just another item, on those things out in plain view that just kind of show that stuff was not great in that locker room this year. So when they're talking about changing the culture and everything, I would not be surprised to see kind of like an exodus of some named players. From this team, just because they want to try to preserve the culture with DA and not preserve the culture over here with these other guys. And that's the decision they're making. So I'm prepared to see some big name guys, potentially not be on the team next year. I think Marshawn Lattimore is one of them that you're definitely looking at. I'd be surprised if Mike Thomas wants to come back.
No,
I think the door's open. I think the door's open for Alvin, maybe if there's the right opportunity. I would not be surprised to see some of these guys get traded this offseason. And Mike obviously is a free agent, but I think there's going to be some big changes.
And it's like anything else in life. It's filled with gray. It's filled with nuance because some of those players, are getting older and maybe represent more value in terms of assets that could be returned or whatever. So like, I'm not saying that those arguments are wholly without merit, but it does feel odd that Dennis Allen is the one that you are choosing over that. when I don't know that there's been any great reasoning as to why you should. Yes, you improved from 7-10 to 9-8 this year, but objectively, this season was still a failure. You were in the most winnable division we've seen in years, probably the easiest overall schedule I've ever seen since we've been doing this job. And it's the NFL, so it's a relative easy, but still relatively easy. You paid $40 million for a quarterback, and you barely get to a winning record. And you almost tease in the end with what could have been, right? And look, there's exciting. You mentioned Kendra Miller, A.T. Perry. The young secondary looks awesome. Carr finished really solid 5 of the last 6 games. But I guess it's just like, I think I speak for most Saints fans where there's just such a bad taste in the mouth because of all the meat that was left on this bone, that I'm not going to sit here for a third off. Like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not going to sit here for a third off season and give the benefit of the doubt or believe in the vision when you're watching first round picks miss and just be complete non-factors. When you're watching just completely or consistently fall short of expectations. And a lot of it all goes back to Loomis. And so, like, I'm not going to applaud him for choosing to stick with DA until it ends up being correct. And maybe it will. And I'll eat crow and all of that, right? But my job's just to analyze and entertain and talk about all of this. He's going to have to get these choices right. It just feels a bit wild to be choosing someone with DA's resume and him, like, okay, like Scott Kusher said this, and I'll ask it to you. Why does it feel like the Saints organization is blaming the players for turning on Allen instead of Allen for losing the locker room?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I think any situation, though, is like when there's a long-term boss that's kind of in there and then the boss leaves, there's going to be people that just don't buy into the new boss. Like,
True.
it's
Very
not
true.
the old culture. They're never going to be happy. It's just kind of, I think sometimes those situations just kind of are what they are. And sometimes people can't be won over. And that's just kind of the situation sometimes that you're in. And then especially you look at a situation like that, like Sean was so heavy into that. Like, it's kind of like taking, I can't even think of a good example, but like if you take the main guy out of a situation and then it's just kind of, you try to bring the people in behind him to fill it in. It's just, you're never going to have the same intensity. You're never going to have the same feeling. Nobody's ever going to care the same amount as they're trying to replicate this other person. And then I think there's just players or workers, if it's a company, where they're going to feel that and they're going to feel the difference and they're going to look at it and say, this doesn't work. And it's just never going to get a chance to do it. It's just, sometimes people are just so ingrained into a certain type of way of doing things that a different way, it just feels so radical to them. So I think kind of even within that point, though, I was thinking about this last night in when you're trying to do that, like say, you're like, I don't know, I'm just going to say, like, my company, for instance, if I left and everybody tried to fill it in, anybody watching and all the people working, it would just be like, this feels different.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better, maybe it's not, but it's different. And some people aren't going to like that different feel. So it's going to turn the product off to it. So, I think it's almost an argument for going outside of the system and then just kind of doing it all over so that nobody is making those comparisons. It's a whole new thing. It doesn't feel familiar. It's completely different. And it just kind of takes away those parallels between the two things. And when you get to a point where things aren't working, maybe that's when you make that call. But they feel like it is working and they think they're going to go out and get, somebody that can help them with their offense or whatever. Maybe it's John Gruden. We'll see. My door is open to be proven wrong, but I think I exist in the same place as you, where it's just going to be like, all right, September 3rd or whenever the season starts next year, like, what are you? Because like I'm not going to like make these. I can't do it again because it's just, I mean, we said 10 wins the whole offseason, that ended up being 9. Like, that's close, but like it didn't feel like it was close to 10. That wasn't like the visual close to 10 that I thought I was going to see when I said 10. I just can't do it again. Like, I got to be. I got to see it. I got to see the wins. And I bet the fans feel the same way. Like, they'll probably show up week 1, buy tickets. But like, if you aren't winning, like, what's happening week 2? And I think that's just kind of the fair place to exist right now. Like, it's just been blind faith is over. You got to do it. And I know they won 9, but when you do the autopsy of the 9 of who they played,
it's a fraud.
What quarterbacks they didn't face, who was injured when they played them. It's not a real 9, man. That's not the 9 that we thought when we were guessing 10 wins.
No, not at all. I mean, we thought that the Saints had the potential to be a team that could actually make noise in the playoffs. And maybe in this last game, you finally saw a glimpse of what that could have been like. Okay, a couple to wrap up here real quick, Nick. And that is a fair point about the boss change, right? And the culture change, and maybe that's part of why DA's not reached whatever it is the leadership thinks his potential could be. So again, I'll leave the door open for that to be the correct strategy, but you better be sure you're right, because like you are really extending yourself here. And I know that Mickey Loomis isn't going to be fired or anything, but I'm just talking about belief. I'm talking about the fans giving a damn. Because the anger, the apathy, the kind of disgust at the product, the interest in the product, you look at ticket prices, is at an all-time low, at least in terms of since I've been doing this job for like a decade. So you better be right. You might be. We'll see.
A quick interjection. Like I think it's really interesting from the Loomis perspective, because I think what he does during his second act is very important to his legacy.
Yeah.
And I think this choice right here to keep going with this was the point where I felt like you're either making a change or you're doubling down. Like he's decided this is what he gets judged on now. Like what happens from this season forward, I think. And I think it's very important for him to have success with this, to kind of cement, to make those 200 wins mean what they're supposed to mean and all that stuff. I think it's fascinating that he's deciding to do this instead of going another way.
I agree. Like I think doubling down is a great way to put it. Okay, do you think what are the latest on the John Gruden rumors? Because it does feel like somebody's head has to roll after a season is a failure, and unfortunately, although I love the improvement, it's probably got to be Pete Carmichael. What's the latest on coaching changes?
I mean, I was more certain they were going to make changes 2 weeks ago than I am now. I mean, it's just this whole thing with them, man. Like there's reason to stick with it. Like they saw good and they always want to be patient. I think they're going to make some changes, but like, is it going to be wholesale changes or adding to? I don't know. Obviously there was the report Gruden had dinner with Loomis and them. I mean, I heard that too. The way I heard it was just kind of like they were all their friends. John lives in Tampa. They went to dinner, but like, obviously I think the door's open for that. I heard that Gruden was involved kind of all season long, just kind of is someone they talked to. I don't think that was just a camp thing. I think that, there were ongoing conversations with that, but I think John talked to like multiple teams. So, but yeah, look, I think if there was ever a path for him to get back, this is probably it. This is a team that doesn't care what the league thinks. I think they're in a position where they would be willing to take on any type of PR hit that came with that. So I think the door is definitely wide open for that if he wants to do it.
Damn. I had one more. It was just in my head. And I can't remember. Oh, well. I'm looking forward to the article later today. NewOrleans.football is a site. Nick Underhill, Nick underscore Underhill on Twitter. We do it every Tuesday. I keep him very long every Tuesday, but his insight is unparalleled when it comes to the black and gold. Nick, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, absolutely. Go sign up today, NewOrleans.football. All right, when we get back, let's do a little late OTB mailbag. Keep it locked right here on 104.5 ESPN.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Since 1982, y'all, Coleman Roofing and Construction has been your most trusted, most reliable, most respected roofing company, and that remains true to today. In fact, more true now than ever. I'm a big believer in culture, right? We talk about it in sports all the time, but it's something that I'm also fascinated to see when I find new advertisers here on the show. We form these relationships. I love getting to tour their buildings, meet the people, see the culture, and the culture at Coleman Roofing and Construction is just fantastic. It's unparalleled. Energy, work hard. They're a big company, but they've maintained that small company feel, that attention detail, going the extra mile to make sure that their customers are satisfied, that their employees are treated the correct way. Remember, they do all the roofing jobs all throughout Louisiana, the entire Gulf South region, commercial, residential, any type of roof. And they do the interior as well. They rebuild everything. Coleman Roofing and Construction.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs.
Join me for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, reacting to the national championship game. Glenn West on LSU as they get ready for Vanderbilt, and Sharif Ishak with the Saints autopsy. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
Ooh, how about this? Point out from Josh Kindle of The Athletic. On the day the Ravens put the non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, 5 NFL teams made it known they would not get involved in the trade discussion. After Monday, 4 have fired their head coach. Remember how weird that was when Lamar was kind of out there on the market and like teams weren't just like quietly not interested. They were like, I want to be clear. We don't want him. Well, 5 of those teams, 4 of the 5 have now fired their head coaches, and Lamar Jackson's the 1 seed. Oh man, that's fantastic. All right, let's do a quick edition of OTB Mailbag.
Special delivery! I have this special delivery for off the bench. And look, it is marked most urgent.
We'll be writing to you.
The internet. What the is the internet?
What's going on, y'all? I don't actually have any mailbag questions. Oh boy. I kind of bungled this one. Did I say going into break? I thought I said we were doing mailbag here. Going into break. Has to go to mailbag. Where does Harbaugh go from here? I don't know. We talked about this on Snaps a bit last night. It's like, okay, first off, if we're trying to get in the mind of Jim Harbaugh, that's its own complicated endeavor that is borderline impossible. Secondly, can you not see the championship like making sense in both paths? Like, yeah, okay, maybe go out on top, right? You lost a Super Bowl, so you still have that Super Bowl bug. You had so much success as an NFL coach. After 9 tough years of incremental process and culture and grind and improvement, you've now won a national champion, undisputed, 15-0, no controversy. Well, I mean, like, no, like, you're the best team controversy. Kind of feels like a good way to go out on top when a lot of people are going to be looking for NFL jobs, right? But at the same time, national championships generally have a way of calcifying coaches, keeping them in place. So I don't know. It's probably more often than not, or it's probably more likely than not that he's gone, but I don't really know.
I think it makes more sense for him to stay. I mean, he's going to have a lot more job security. Look at the teams that are out there that he's been linked to. You got the Chargers, you got the Raiders. I mean, those 2 teams don't really have good front offices and good management. So I would stay put. However, I think the Connor Stallions thing is interesting here. I mean, how much of that does Harbaugh know? I mean, that's going to get brought up again.
I don't think they're going to get in any trouble though.
I don't either, but it could play a factor. I mean, there could be some behind the scenes things that we don't know yet. I think he's going to take everything into consideration. Do I think he does leave? I kind of do, but I don't think he should.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I kind of feel like maybe he should, he was really good in the NFL. This is no better time to go do it and then walk away on top. Like you're a Michigan man who brought Michigan back to the heights that they had thought they would never see again. Hashtag OTB mailbag. Did you enjoy being free more at Texas State Brazil or Birmingham Bass Pro? For what it's worth, it would probably be more fun to swim in the Bass Pro aquarium than to just stand on a table and swing meat at Texas State Brazil. So I would say Bass Pro.
I would say Texas State Brazil.
Why? You wouldn't want to go swimming in that aquarium? It looked awesome. Although I saw a picture of him on the ground. Did he just flop out? I haven't seen the video of him flopping out.
It's a harder in and out, and
definitely harder in and out.
Some of those fish in there are like you're gonna be swimming with the fish. You're gonna be bumping into them. Like Texas State Brazil, it's all eyes on you. Like
trying to bite his little bait.
Yeah.
Hashtag. Okay, that's a comment. Hashtag OTB mailbag. Where does Penix go in the draft? Is it close to Jaden? I think Penix is probably the fourth quarterback. I think Jaden you could see get pushed all the way up to 2 during this process. Like if you're and I know like we're not sold on Caleb Williams. The NFL seems pretty sold on Caleb Williams being number 1. We'll see if that remains true. But I have an intuition or a feeling that Jaden is gaining on Drake May. And so, yeah, I would say I could see him going 2. I still think Penix is probably going to go 4.
Well, what do they always say every year? Oh, well, these are the tier 1 guys. I think for quarterbacks, tier 1 is very clearly in some combination, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. And then right below that, Penix is kind of the top tier 2 guy that we look at.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can't have too many. You can't have too many tier 1 guys, but I do like a lot of Michael Penix, man.
I'm just saying, like, in terms on where they're going to be drafted.
I would love for him to get for the Saints to take him, but I don't know if he's going to. I agree, Cortland. Jaden will shine in interviews, but so will probably like Drake May. Interview's going to be important for Williams as well. I feel like one of the things with him is I think people are going to be worried or are going to be questioning his kind of intangibles. Maybe more so than some of the others. Yeah, I agree. The throws that Williams can make are insane. Well, and it's funny, too, because Caleb Williams is clearly the Pat Mahomes analog. And a comp does not mean they're going to be that player for the millionth time. But he's clearly the Pat Mahomes analog, and Jaden Daniels is clearly the Lamar Jackson analog. Only a better thrower than Jackson was coming out of college. And it's funny that, like, who are the top teams in the NFL right now? Like, who do you think has as good a championship as winning as anybody? Probably Lamar and company, and, well, of course, Pat Mahomes, because it's Pat Mahomes. Michael Penix being left-handed, so they lost last night? Yeah. Brando's right. I know. Any news on LSU offensive coordinator? No, not official. I still think it's probably Joe Sloan, but we'll see. All right, let's cut mailbag a little short here. And let's dive into something that we teased earlier. By the way, start up the music, okay? Y'all hated on me last year. Taylor, were you on the show yet? No, you weren't on the show last year when I celebrated John Williams' incredible score. Here it is, of grit and glory, setting the tone for the college football national championship. Oh, the horn starting us off. That wonderful, just wait for it, the wonderful John Williams, the whimsy. Nobody does whimsy like John Williams. What y'all think about the intro with this song last night? Did you see it?
Yeah, it was great.
I thought it was awesome,
it's so funny.
Right?
Like the first text I get, I look down, it says T-Bob Hebert. It says John Williams is back, and I was like, he's loving this intro for sure.
So last year I celebrated and I played it on the show and everybody hated on it. It was like, it's not college football. It's not this, that. Listen right here, dude. I got goosebumps. There is no way you can be my age and that doesn't get you aroused.
Well,
that sounds like E.T., Star Wars, Harry Potter, any of it.
You're right.
Superman.
Is it college football? But it brings up a grand emotion. And
Yes.
college football, national championship.
It's the national championship.
Yeah, for sure. Like any other Saturday, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. But like the spectacle that is a championship, yeah, I thought it was appropriate.
Shut the hell up, chat. Williams is more like, okay. Whew. He's talking about Caleb Williams. I thought he was talking about John Williams. Be more like Zach Wilson. And I was about to lose my mind. Never mentioned John Williams and Zach Wilson in the same breath. All right. You can keep this playing. But now, I want to get to Taylor's. Avo says this does nothing for me, T-Up. Go watch more anime, dude. Get the hell out of here. Take a lap. Look, I like anime, okay? But there's no way that you listen to this and you don't feel something stirring in your breast. It's crazy. I mean, I guess you know it's music, so you probably, it's fair, but still hate it. Hans Zimmer's the modern Williams. I don't think Hans Zimmer's as listenable, but he's excellent. He's excellent. All right, so this was all spurred on because as Taylor in a very astute observation pointed out in the group chat on Sunday, there is not a softer first name than Arthur. Last name, sure. First name speaks of a weak chin. And I like Arthur the Aardvark as much as the next person does. Okay? I really do. So, Taylor, what are your 4 softest first names?
Yeah, with 4, it's kind of an honor to the last 4-team playoff that we will see. So we can rank these in any order you want. Some great research was done in all 4 of these names. So we got Arthur for sure is up there.
Yep.
I'm putting Eugene on this list. Okay. So we got Arthur, we got Eugene.
Alondra, does Eugene check out?
Yeah, Eugene's a pretty soft name. I would put Eugene above Arthur.
Well,
I'm just
we can rank them any time. But
Eugene's a bit like.
Do you remember that wrestler, WWE wrestler Eugene? And
no.
he was kind of like.
You are tickling. Yeah, you're tickling something at the edge of memory, like some old dusty cobwebs I'm clearing to the side, and I'm gonna have to do a Google search.
He was like a kid or something like that. I don't know.
So Eugene sounds even a little more nerdy than kind of soft, but yes, soft maybe nonetheless. Okay, what else we got?
All right, name number 3. I'm going Clark. Clark is not a tough name.
And here we may arrive at our first disagreement.
Okay.
Superman, Clark Kent.
Clark Kent. Superman.
He's not.
That's tough. I mean,
soft?
that's what I'm saying,
Clark
dude. He's literally invulnerable. Like a bullet could hit his eyeball and the bullet smashes.
But Clark Kent is not the superhero, and he was not tough until he got the powers. Clark
Kent.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, to your point, Taylor, Superman's whole alter identity is kind of
the
built in being,
guy.
like a nerdy desk guy.
For sure.
But then also Clark Griswold. Not like the toughest, but still a
great character,
paragon of man, and who we all want to be.
Great character. If Clark Griswold met you in a dark alley, you would not fear for your safety in any ways, is what I'm saying.
Damn, Bastion, bro, I work with a Clark Lamau.
Okay, and then the final name we got in our top 4 softest names, Dewey.
Has
anyone ever been beaten up by a Dewey?
The kid on Malcolm in the Middle, wasn't his name Dewey?
Maybe one of them was named Dewey. I'm also thinking the only thing about Dewey is
the decimal system.
Well, Dewey can get that's pretty nerdy. That's true. Sorting libraries.
Yeah.
How do you? But the only thing about Dewey is that can skew, a bit country. And I feel like you could get a good old boy named Dewey who's just like a beer guzzling, hay chucking, just monster of a man. I'm not sure. So I've come around on Clark. I think Arthur's fantastic. Eugene's great.
I get the Dewey country thing, but if he was super country, he'd go by something cooler like a Duke or something like that.
What about
You're not going to call him Dewey.
Frederick,
yeah, but Frederick also has rich vibes too. Yeah. So,
That's true.
He could hire somebody.
I knew a kid back in the day, really, really super smart kid, Frederick Stern. And his first name was Eric, but he wanted to go by Frederick, and that always fascinated me. I'd never met a kid that would have chosen Frederick over Eric, but it matched his vibe. He read War and Peace when we were like 7.
Yeah, that's a Frederick. And that's my final four.
I love it. I love it. Great, excellent work there.
Thank you.
Excellent work. Taylor's Trailer Park segment of the week, as Champ called it in the chat. 4 softest names in existence. When we get back, we're going to talk to Jacob Hester live. Driving back from Houston. Keep it locked right here on OTB.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Theodore's tough because, I mean, you can't do that because Roosevelt.
Roosevelt.
Yeah, you can't do that because Roosevelt.
And then Teddy's
He's like
a good
the baddest man ever.
Yeah. Finn Golfin. That's a great point. Y'all probably don't even know about Finn Golfin or his brothers.
I think the actual name. So
Feanor.
Yeah.
Nothing. I have to educate y'all. Just like I educate y'all on community steel every day. CommunitySteelCo.com. Located right there in Gonzales, Louisiana. Community Steel Co. are your local steel experts. You need purlin, tubing, steel building, sheet metal. It's all made right there on site in Gonzales. You can go tour the facilities. You can go check it out. You can go meet the live and local sales team that will get to know you and your business in order to best serve your business. You can go walk through and touch the steel buildings that you're going to be purchasing. Look at the product. But you know, what is all of this, guys? I mean, these are all distinct, great advantages. But saving money matters as well. And because Community Steel is local and they buy their steel directly from the wholesaler and then they make it all on site, there's no middleman jacking up the price for the consumer on the back end. Save money. Better customer service, live and local sales team, local business. Go see it in Gonzales, Community Steel Company, CommunitySteelCo.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We're recapping the national championship game and Saints looking ahead to 2024. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
OTB, OT, with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
So the weather's all over the place right now, y'all. I think it's supposed to be like 20 degrees next Tuesday. Last night, that weird warm storm rolling in, like I didn't even need a jacket. So the point is, this is when people start to get sick. It gets a little crazy like this. So head into Patient Plus Urgent Care, patientplusuc.com. We talk about them every day. We love Patient Plus, quality care for life's unexpected moments. It's you, it's the family, it's cold, it's flu, it's COVID, it's whatever, right? I burned my hand. I went into Patient Plus. They got me right. The facilities will blow you away. The technology involved, the digital profile system where it's so easy to sign in. They get you in, they get you out. And ask about the membership while you're in there. If you sign up for the membership, you can do a flat fee and pay per year, or you can pay per month. But the bottom line is you get unlimited visits, and you go twice, and you're already coming out ahead. So it's a legitimately fantastic deal. Patient Plus Urgent Care, patientplusuc.com. All right, let's talk to our guy Jake Hester, who has been boots on the ground in Houston, on the field, covering the game. Jake, what has the last 24 hours been like? Oh, we didn't call him. Oh, okay.
I need his number.
Oh, you don't have Jake's number. Okay, yeah. You know, these are this is how it that's it's all good. It really doesn't matter.
I got distracted with the names.
I know, and I feel bad. I feel like this is sounding like I care. I really don't care. We are completely fine. I just love the fact that chat is calling out Taylor for creating a list of soft names, as everybody is now clowning Taylor as being the ultimate soft name.
You can clown the name Taylor. That's fine. I just think that Taylor is a common enough name. And again, it's not like my name is like Spike or like something super manly, but I mean,
yeah, it's not T-Bob.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's enough Taylors out there to where, you know, you're going to have some good ones in the mix.
Is Bobby? I
think Bobby's a good name.
Yeah, but then I don't know. It's got a little bit of softness to
Bobby Portis in the NBA, like he always looks like he wants to kill someone every time he's on the court. Okay. Like he's a monster. Bobby Wagner, Bobby Carpenter, like two good NFL linebackers. Yeah, Bobby's a good name.
Jake, what's up, man? What's going on?
What's up, Bobber? How you doing today, sir?
How was it on the field last night? What have your last 24 hours been like as Michigan crowned national champions and very deservingly so, the most complete team in the entire country, an undisputed national champ in my book?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, I thought Washington would have a better showing than they did, and they had their opportunity, certainly. I can't wait to break it down with you tomorrow, but Michigan deserves it. Michigan might not have had the who's who schedule, but you and I talked about it all season long. The All-22 told a story of the best team in the country. And I picked Washington, and I still thought Michigan was the best team in the country. I just thought the matchup would favor Washington, but, you know, it didn't. The old-school nature of Michigan won out, and you could tell that there was a point of emphasis to say, you know what, we're going to be the bullies. I'm grown and you're not. That was like their mentality going into that one. And look, it's good to kind of see that you can win a national championship a different way. You don't have to live in 11 personnel and kind of have this high-flying offense. You can still be in 12 and 21 personnel, have elite defense, a great running game, and a quarterback that can make the plays when you ask him to. He's not maybe going to dictate the pace of a game, but he can make the plays when he has to. And so this Michigan team, man, it's an old-school nature team. They certainly deserve it. And you can see the glee from every person there winning that championship. And I had a chance to actually catch up with John Harbaugh on the field. And, I mean, even him, somebody that's won a Super Bowl, is the number one seed in the AFC, just what that win meant to his family. Almost like he knows how hard his brother has been trying to work to get to that point, and get to that point at Michigan, being the Michigan man that he is.
And he did it. 9 years. Testament to patience, process, culture, all that sort of stuff. Because we bungled the clock so badly, Jake, that's it. So I hope you have a great day. And drive safe, and we will catch up with you tomorrow.
Big gulp, son. All right. Later.
All right, man. Holla later, dude. Okay, close out the show with Ask the Bench coming up next here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Tea with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
RejuveMeMedical.com. Restore me, refuel me, rejuve me. If you don't feel like yourself like you used to, okay, fight the untreated effects of aging. It's not hard, guys. At Rejuve Me, they're the experts. Like, if you're having mood, memory problems, insomnia, weight gain, facial aging, andropause, menopause, any of this sorts of stuff, just don't feel like yourself, set up a free consultation. They draw your labs, which is a great health check as well. Like, they've literally saved lives in doing so. And then they look at what your body needs and they customize a plan for you. So maybe HRT's for you, maybe it's not. Semaglutide, like I tell you every day, maybe just B vitamin shots, but there is something. Stop thinking you can't feel better and younger. Restore me, refuel me, rejuve me. Baton Rouge, Metairie, Slidell, Shreveport as well. Going for that free consultation set up today. Ask the Bench, brought to you by Cold Crush Light, Visit Yard, Children, Blue Moon, Light Sky, Citrus Sweet. What are Taylor's 4 toughest names? Ooh. You have to work on that. Work on that for tomorrow. Ask the Bench, is Magic Kingdom overrated? I think you just have to know what you're getting into. There's no alcohol unless you go to a restaurant, which kind of sucks compared to the other parks. And it's probably going to be the most crowded, right? But it does have a lot of your classics. But it's where you're going to be fighting lines the most. So it's a mixed bag. Here's what I will say. Magic Kingdom can feel a bit like a morale killer, but there's also going to be some really high points. And you work through Magic Kingdom so that the relief of Epcot feels that much sweeter when you get there at the end of the day and you have a little more open space and you got beers, in my opinion. What do y'all think? Is Magic Kingdom overrated?
I think it's by far my least favorite park. It has the most people, like you said, the less big kid rides, if you will. Again, Magic Kingdom's not for me. But
yes.
It's my least favorite of the 4 for sure.
To be fair, yes. I'm also operating under the assumption that you're bringing little kids with you. Like, Magic Kingdom is for little kids. Like, Disney as a whole kind of skews more kid, where if you want rides, you want to go the Universal route. Ask the Bench, what do you have on your po' boy? Fully dressed or just plain fully dressed? All the time. I mean, my favorite is still just a surf and turf po' boy from oh my God, why am I blanking? In New Orleans. It doesn't matter. I like any surf and turf po' boy fully dressed. Ask the Bench, if you can only play one video game for the rest of your life, would it be and why? I mean, I guess it's World of Warcraft Classic for me. I just keep playing. I'm again re-addicted to Season of Discovery. Do y'all have a game?
I will. It'll be the new NCAA football game.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah,
Let me try to do some streaming stuff. What do you play?
Just Warzone.
Oh, you play Warzone?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. COD Normie?
Yeah.
All right. Great show. We'll see you tomorrow. More OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Accutemp Baton Rouge, AccuTempBR.com. Yeah, Parkway. Thank you, Spencer. Right? Accutemp of BR.com. Yeah, Animal Kingdom is dope. It's like an awesome zoo. Very fun. Don't shake your head. It is very fun. But nothing's as fun as the deals that Accutemp got going on this January. It's time to take control of your comfort zone. So I know the storms didn't end up being that bad last night. Thank God. I'm not one of those people who's mad when the storms aren't bad. But if you want a whole home generator to help you have peace of mind during these times, this January, you get $2,000 off that home generator. And they have maintenance plans and service plans to make sure that it's good to go so it's ready when you need it. Also, little January BOGO. That's a buy one, get one, my guy. You buy a new AC unit, you get the heater for free. So what are you waiting for? Take advantage of the best customer system in the game. Customer service to the highest degree. Accutemp of Baton Rouge. All your AC, heat, and electrical needs. Accutemp Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt McMahon. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable